9 o'clock, hour number 3 underway. McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. We're talking Big Ten SEC. Who wins more titles in the next 5 years? We just went through our portal news, where people are going to end up. We talked a little bit of Tom Allen heading to Clemson as their next defensive coordinator. The NFL draft, taking players and some players staying behind. I did not realize Katron Allen's nickname was Fat Man. But the graphic that he released, boom, I'm back. Katron Fat Man Allen. In his Twitter feed, his name is Fat Man. Emoji lightning bolt. That doesn't quite go together, but hey, he makes it work, I guess.
It's great to have him back, though. I mean, they're really good. So the fact that they both decided to come back is big time.
Also big time, Bromberg's. Greg, tell our listeners what they can get.
Yeah, Bromberg's is terrific. It's the only place I would consider shopping. It's a luxury to go in there and have that opportunity to walk in and to enjoy the experience that you're going to have in Mountain Brook Village or the Summit. The natural diamonds that they have in stock are really amazing. These are beautifully sourced diamonds that help communities all over the world. And they also make sure that they're sourced in a really responsible way. So go and check out the incredible sales staff that they have at Bromberg's. You'll understand what I'm talking about when you walk in the door. It's a great experience every single time. I'm always grateful to the experience that I have when I go and see my friends at the Mountain Brook Village store and at the Summit, when you can always go and check out what they have at brombergs.com.
All right. You kind of poo-pooed on this a little bit earlier. Yesterday, Kelvin Banks leaves. You had actually 2 offensive linemen declare for the draft yesterday. You had a running back declare for the draft, and then Isaiah Bond today. Now Matthew Golden also leaving Texas, Greg. Do you begin to get a little bit concerned just about the amount of productivity that's going to be gone off this offense?
Yeah, heck yeah. Absolutely, I do. I think there's a lot to be concerned about, but what I would also echo is that they have the resources to be able to go and put together a patchwork unit. Now, here's the problem. The schedule's still pretty dang manageable next year. Now, they're going to be on the road a little more this year, which will make life a little bit tougher, but their schedule this year was very, very, very manageable. Granted, yeah, a couple losses to Georgia. They went toe-to-toe, obviously, against Arizona State, got the win there, even though that wasn't great. And then you go and you get beat. I don't want to say convincingly, but the game felt about like the final score indicated. So it'll be real curious to see where it goes from here. But man, I am a little concerned because if this year's unit couldn't do it, it felt like they were kind of building to this moment. Now it might be back to restart before they build again.
Okay. So Texas loses another one to the NFL draft.
Where are you at with Texas?
I'm actually a little more concerned about the defense than the offense. Just kind of want to see how that is rebuilt to a certain extent. Your 2025 Texas schedule, if you were curious as to where Greg was going with that, they'll open up at Ohio State, San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston, at Florida, Oklahoma, at Kentucky, at Mississippi State, Vandy, take a week off at Georgia, Arkansas, Texas A&M. It's not a universally difficult lift. Yeah, the road games, obviously, at Florida, at Ohio State, at Georgia, tough.
Definitely
but
tougher.
You find a way to get one of those. Even if you drop 2 of them, you're still in probably pretty decent shape. But yeah, not what some of the other SEC schedules are going to be going into next season. All right, so that's just kind of a look at Texas and guys heading to the NFL, different things that are going to happen there. Let me tell you guys about Game Day Men's Health. If you feel on edge, if you're lacking sleep, if you don't have energy, Game Day Men's Health wants to help you. It's a problem for a lot of guys out there. It could be the lack of low testosterone, and they want to help you with that. Here's what you do right now. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. You register for a free consultation online. When you go in, free PSA test, free testosterone test, and there's going to be minimal upfront cost for all the programs that they offer. So you're going to find out your baseline health for free, and then they're going to present everything that they can do for you. Save 10% on any of those by mentioning Cube when you walk in the front door. And Game Day Men's Health wants to get you off on the right foot. Weight loss, multiple programs they can help you with there. At Game Day Men's Health, great staff, no pressure, locker room environment, holistic approach to health and wellness. It's Game Day Men's Health. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today to schedule your free consultation. Before we go back to football, I wanted to bring up something from a little less than a week ago.
Oh, boy.
Listeners to this show, for a long time especially, have heard our back and forth on travel.
Oh, boy.
And I give Greg a lot of credit for the XFL relaunch a couple of years ago when we were on the same crew. And taking direct flights was at a premium. Even flew in day a game a couple of times. Just kind of showed me the ropes of, well, I guess I should start with, it doesn't always have to be Delta.
Nah.
To which I was
Loyal.
a little tied to.
Committed.
Too tied to at a certain point in time. Fast forward to the Orange Bowl, in which some serious chest pounding of being on the 5:30 flight out of Orlando to be able to get into Atlanta, do the show from a minute suite, and then be able to get home so much earlier than someone who's going to sleep in after the show, rest, chill in Miami for a few hours.
Get tan.
Didn't happen. You haven't shared your travel story yet.
I have not.
Back from the great MIA. And I was hoping that you could potentially do that for us here on the show.
I think I can do that for you. So looking at the weather, I was a little concerned, right? Like, you knew Friday was going to be dicey.
We did.
So I was.
You weren't on the show when Span joined us, but yeah.
No, yeah. Knew Friday was going to be a little dicey. So looking at the weather, knowing how Birmingham operates, I figured the sooner I can get home, the sooner I can get within close proximity of Birmingham, the better, right? Just knowing how things go in the South when you see just the tiniest bit of precipitation and freezing temperatures in the air, we got issues. So what I decided to do after the Orange Bowl, first of all, it took forever, just logistically speaking, from the stadium on Thursday night to the point in which I got home, because I kind of consider it all one big beatdown of travel challenges. From the stadium till when I got home was a beast. Long story short, take a 5:30 Eastern flight, which means my alarm went off at 3:50 a.m. Eastern time, which means it was 2:50 a.m. Central time. This is where it gets good. No issues whatsoever. Make it to Fort Lauderdale, no problem whatsoever. Hopped in to the plane, take off. Josh Pate sitting 2 rows behind me. No issues whatsoever. Me and Josh are fist pumping on the way out. We're good. We're geniuses. And then you come to find out that you land in Atlanta and there had been no flights that had taken off in 15 minutes. It's like, all right, I'm a little concerned about that. That's not great. I'm originally scheduled to be on a 1:00 flight. My flight is literally the only flight in Atlanta that is on time. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, this is just like the XFL 2.0 from a couple years ago when I took off from Dallas at 4:58 p.m. and at 5:00 p.m. they shut down DFW. But I was able to get out and on my way and home safe and sound before the bottom fell out of the travel situation there in Dallas-Fort Worth. So I'm sitting there thinking,
Didn't we
man,
have someone take us to the airport?
yes, Luganville, and we fishtailed all over the freaking highway.
That. Yeah.
It was awful.
Because everybody was like, hold on, y'all are getting out?
Y'all are going to drive?
We
Y'all
were
are going to drive to the airport?
like, yeah, Luganville's a psycho. He'll take us.
Yeah, Luganville can do it. Well, needless to say, he did, and we got there. It was not a comfortable ride, and was there some white knuckle moments throughout the drive? Yes. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, dude, my lucky stars are going to happen again. I am going to make it. I'm going to be home at 1:00. I'm going to have tons of time to be able to rest up. Needless to say, I got 36 minutes of sleep on Thursday night. And I'll show you my Whoop to only corroborate said sleep. I had 5% recovery on my Whoop, which is almost impossible to do unless you drink. I didn't drink, so that's a problem. Anyways, fast forward. I'm sitting there. It's about 12:30 after a nice conversation with a member of the Alabama staff who is out recruiting. We are told that our flight's delayed a half hour. Oh, that's fine. No problem. And then after a half hour passes, we were told, hey, the reason what we can do is we can basically wait here or rebook you guys on another flight. I was like, well, why would you rebook us? Like, our flight's good. He goes, well, the reason why is that the flight attendants for your flight will not land until 3:08. I'm like, well, that's an hour and a half. That's not terrible. Are there any other flight attendants? Like, yes, we're efforting that as we speak. I was like, all right, cool. So I'll stick around. So about 3 o'clock rolls around, we're pushed back again. Now I'm on the 5 o'clock flight. I'm like, all right, this is starting to get dicey. I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel here. This flight's not taking off today.
Keep in mind, my flight landed at 5:20.
Correct. It landed at 5:20?
Was scheduled to. We got delayed a couple of minutes.
Well, landed
just a few minutes after
Last time I checked, you weren't on time either. Captain
walked into my front
Captain
door
Travel.
10 minutes after Greg did.
Captain Travel. Had all things worked out and gone according to plan, I would have been home 5.5 hours before Cole. So it felt worth it. Plus, I get time at the Minute Suites. Who doesn't want that? So fast forward, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, dude, if this flight doesn't take off, there are no rental cars available in Atlanta. I am really in a tough spot. If this rental car doesn't take off, Minute Suites are booked. There are no hotel rooms that are connected to the airport, and I don't have a rental car, and I know there's not going to be any Ubers available. So I am in real deep trouble if this doesn't work out. I call emergency travel. I say, I have to have a rental car. They're like, all right, we'll get you a rental car. I'm not sure what they called or what glass they broke and what button they pressed, but all of a sudden the magical rental car popped up in the form of a Hyundai Santa Fe, which I very much appreciate. It's a nice ride too, I might add. I say, if I don't go now, it's only going to get worse. This rain that's going down right now is going to freeze overnight. So the ice on the road between here and Birmingham is going to be a beast. So I go and get in the rental car. I leave and I average about 40 miles an hour down I-20. Through Atlanta was very dicey. I was extremely concerned around Atlanta because I thought there were going to be cars on the road. There was nobody on the road. I'm sitting there thinking it's going to be like Kubelik and I and Luganville driving all the way. I average about 40 miles an hour. It opens up a little bit between about Douglasville and Anniston, where for whatever reason, the roads were actually pretty decent. Then you get past Anniston into like Talladega area, started to get a little dicey again. So it was real dicey at the beginning, real dicey at the end. It took me about 3 hours and 25 minutes to get from Atlanta to Birmingham, which I felt decent about.
It's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Well,
when you told me how fast you were going.
Door to door. It's a little longer than that. I count Atlanta from like Douglasville to like when I'm in Trustful. Like that's
you don't count the 45-minute tram ride to the rental car place?
No. I was in the car for about 4 hours and 30 minutes. From the time I got in the rental car to the time I got out of the rental car at Birmingham Airport, about 4 hours and 30 minutes.
After a flight,
to go
and after a delay, and after a wait.
To go over 153 miles.
Okay.
Not great. So, needless to say, from 2:50 a.m. Central Time until 6:45 p.m. Central Time, I was traveling from Miami to Birmingham.
Brutal.
I could have driven and made it with 5 hours to spare.
Listen, I told Pate because we were talking about it, and I said I've got an SUV rented, and if it looks bad, we're just going to start driving. So you can just hop in, we'll go.
That's honestly, that would have been the smartest play. Well, I did not think. But
I think I know one.
God's honest truth. I've traveled a lot, and I am all for direct flights when available. 2 problems with your direct flight theory. 1, Miami Airport's the worst on God's green earth.
It's not worse than Charlotte.
No, much worse.
Mm-mm.
Charlotte's bad. I don't disagree. But Miami's brutal. You might walk 2 miles before you get to your gate.
Oh, trust me, I know, because I had to second time in my life I've run in an airport.
It's the worst. It's
see,
the worst.
I haven't gotten to my part of this story yet.
Oh my gosh, I still have to get to gate 72 and I'm at gate 2.
So let me just give you a little bit. I was going to wait till we go to break. We got Dan Hope on the other side. I'm going to talk Ohio State. Like I said, it was a nice little relaxing day in Miami. Just kind of drove over to Hollywood, looking for some coffee, maybe get like a bagel or something. Like walked out on the little walkway where the beach is, checked that out after the show, Had a little extra time to pack up and get out of there. No rush, not in the hassle, no panic to get to the airport. Had the new SUV rig from the company that makes the cars that the top comes off. It's just the big Jeep, whatever it is, the new one, the big one. That's what I had as a rental, and I've had one before. They're pretty nice.
About the Grand Wagoneer.
Correct. Yes,
they are nice.
Price tag out of control, but nonetheless,
can't believe people pay what they pay for those, but they are nice.
I think this is maybe third time I've had one, and all the car rentals that I've had, so I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Oh, Cole a car rental.
And as you know, the Miami traffic is different than a lot of other places. A lot of other places you can say like 280, probably 7 to 9, stay away. 4 to 6, stay away. Maybe 4 to 8, stay away. Miami could just middle of the day all of a sudden be bumper to bumper. You never know. Like it's kind of all over the place. And we stayed over closer to the stadium. Like we actually stayed right next to the Lauderdale airport, which would have been nice to fly to there, but this is where the direct flight was. 13.2 miles to go to the airport. Traffic's pretty bad. All of a sudden, the temperature light comes on.
Oh, boy.
This car had 5,000 miles on it.
Oh, boy.
And I'm thinking to myself, that is a bad recipe.
Don't like that.
So kind of turned off the AC, like trying to like get some of the electronics down a little bit. Maybe that'll help. Slow down, get to the right lane, and push the gas once the traffic does start to move, and we don't really go anywhere. I'm thinking we got big problems.
Oh,
because now if we're going to go 35 miles an hour for 13 miles to the airport, we are going to be in a crunch to make our flight. The gas never really worked on the way to the airport.
Love that.
So
the gas never worked.
I mean, I had it on the floor and it was at about 40. And I'm thinking, all right, we got to find a way. If I pull over now and try to get some coolant in this thing or whatever it needs, which we don't even really know.
Sounded like we needed to trade cars because I should have been going 40 the whole way.
You'd have been fine. And in ice, you'd probably been better off with a car that was overheating. Helps you a little
bit. Just dropping fuel, like burning up the ice below me. That'd be perfect.
So in traffic, when it would slow down a little bit, I would just flip the thing to neutral. And I think it was like 255 is where it would overheat. And I would get it down to about 253, 252. And then I would have to go, stayed in the right side so I could keep going slow. Thankfully, the traffic was bad because it never got going up to like 60 again. Or I'm not sure what I would have done. And when I would come up on a hill and start going like down like a big mound or whatever, I would click it in neutral and just coast down the hill. And so finally I get about 2 miles away and it's just sputtering, just barely moving. And I think to myself, Miami's got this giant car rental deck. It's like 6 stories.
Oh boy.
If we're on the 3rd floor, this thing ain't making it up there.
Oh no.
Pull in. My rental car company was on the 1st floor, thankfully.
Oh, how big?
Wheel it in.
How back
you can just smell it burning. Get out. I'll take an email, receipt, whatever. And it's the 2nd time in my life that I've run in an airport. I was running. Because like you said, Greg, you check in and you're at gate 10 and you got to go to 72. And they sent me, I got in and I was like, okay, good, here we go. And he was like, no, you need to check in at gate 1, which was way down at the end.
Yeah.
So I had to hustle down to that and then had to go back all the way down the other way. Of course I ran and then they're all sitting there waiting to get on the plane, but either way, because I was like, I'm here till tomorrow if I don't make this. But yeah, it was complicated. I have not had that issue with the vehicle before.
That's brutal. I can't say I've had an issue with the rental car, knock on wood, like that. That would stress me out. I don't like driving other people's cars to begin with. I like my car. I don't even like driving my wife's car very much. Like I like my car. I'm used to a certain feel. So yeah, that's a little bit dicey for me. I'm not sure I would have handled that as well as you handled that. I would have just probably left it in a ditch and said, come get it.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Nope. No time for it. All right. When we come back, Dan Hope is going to tell us why he believes Ohio State will win a national championship Monday night. Before we do that, I'm going to tell you about Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group, what they can do for you. If you're looking to get into a new home, You need to call the Gusty Goulas Group today. Why? Well, they've served more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. Since 2012, Gusty Goulas Group recognized both nationally and locally as Greater Birmingham, Alabama's #1 team in homes sold, over 835-star Google reviews. They've helped family members of mine. They can help you. Call 205-542-1996 or Google Gusty Goulas Group and see those 5-star reviews and what they can do for you. GustyGoulasGroup.com. Find out your home's value right now. Button at the top of the page. Very little information. You'll see what they can do for you immediately. 205-542-1996 or go to GustyGoulasGroup.com and start packing. Okay, when we come back, Dan Hope on Ohio State next on